I am affectionately known to the community as Uncle Bobby X. I'm the uncle of Oscar Grant. I'm an activist, an advocate for police accountability and transparency, and the co-founder of the Love Not Blood campaign.
I am Sister Beatrice X. I'm an activist, I'm a mother, and I'm a grandmother.
January 1st, 2009 at the Fruitvale BART station, my nephew Oscar Grant was murdered on that platform. What's so relevant about it then and comparing it to today is that Oscar had 600 pounds of officer on his back. Of course, it went national, then worldwide. It became one of the historical cases that became the flashpoint of the movement that we see happening today. Yes, he was murdered, but the resurrection of Oscar came from the community involvement in his murder. Uploading that video to YouTube for the world to see angered people just like we see today with George Floyd, right? And so people came out and people began to protest and they began to speak on this issue about police accountability. But the history of it all really stems from the fact that the community participated and they made their voice heard by going out, speaking to this injustice. And for the first time in California state history, an officer was arrested, charged, convicted, and sent to jail. But it was because of the community being involved, because of the video, that really sparked what we see today happening when people witness the murder on camera, and it agitates them to such a degree that they have to come out and speak for real accountability and transparency. But what we can't forget, even during the community outrage, the rebellion that took place, there were provocateurs that worked directly with the Oakland Police Department that prompted what we call the so-called looting and the breaking of windows and garbage cans being caught on fire. That was a direct relation of those perpetrators that came in the guise of especially the police, as well as the anarchists that had their own personal agenda. Right now, the media is playing that there's agents from another country. We know that there's been pictures of police officers breaking windows. We know that there's been those that's been running in and out of stores, carrying boxes, the looting that's been taking place, but no real visual of the organization that's taking place to bring about the real justice that George is gonna get.
But because when cases are so big like this, right, the media is not focusing on that. They're focusing on all the other stuff, even with the Justice for Oscar Grant movement. When you find out who's on the ground working, it's after the cameras go.
We're dealing with a sick beast, a sick agency that doesn't want to change a sick culture. And so when the legislation is passed, the real work begins. When Oscar was murdered, the first thing the agency did was try to criminalize him. They criminalized him, they demoralized him, they even dehumanized him to give the indication that it was justifiable homicide, that this type of character needed to be executed. Well, sadly, news media is highlighting the looting and the breaking of windows and the negative aspect of the movement more so than the positive, thereby criminalizing, dehumanizing, and demoralizing a movement for real justice change. So we have to really consciously be aware that that happens purposely. So I don't agree with the looting. I don't agree with the going in these buildings and just taking things just for the hell of it. But we're clear that the violence and destruction that we see is the voice of the unheard. And so we have to stay in that frame of mind, saying that there's some that are considered provocateurs that create this criminalization of the movement so that people don't want to be a part of it. And that's done on purpose. When we understand that that is done on purpose, then we are not so apt to just say the looting is gonna dilute from the real issue. It doesn't have to, because we know it's by design to happen. We've been at this a long time, and so we've been available to families all over this country where we've been working with families that has been in this struggle. And so we always put it out there for the world to know. Love Not Blood campaign is an organization that you can connect with that will provide the various ideas and services and comfort especially in the emotional aspect of dealing with the family that's been impacted, in helping you get through this trying time. And so we could definitely be reached at Love Not Blood Campaign, www.lovenotbloodcampaign.org, and we will come. We will do what we can to help get through this struggle of police violence.